What's going on, YouTube world? This is the Shred Academy, and welcome back to another episode of What the F Happened, the only crash reel on the internet that not only shows you awesome crashes, but shows you why they happen so you don't make the same mistake. So let's get to watching some people crash and finding out why. All right, let's check out our first crash. Whoa! Oh, geez! Let's just go back and look at this. I just want to look at wheel turning. Oh! Smack! Wow. Wow. Blah. All right. So let's find out what happened. If we take a look at how low he takes off on this shark fin and actually how far he goes, I can tell you he's probably coming in with a good amount of speed. So next thing is we come in, and now as we're going up this lip, even though he's not the clearest, we can see that his arms are bent, right? So he's not using his upper body at all. And right here, do you see his knees are bent? Kind of in the front of his bike. Now watch as that, whoop, watch as that bike leaves, that rear end kicks him, right? As he's trying to do a little fish whip, you'll see him looking at the camera right now. So his knees being bent going up the lip kind of in the front allows that rear suspension to kick up, and his legs aren't going to stop that quick rebound of the shock. So he just kind of gets forced up, the bike gets pushed forward, and his extra speed carries him all the way across. Now, strong arms might have been able to save this. But if you'll notice that front tire, let's back out a little more. See that front tire? He may also have had low tire pressure because that tire just folds and possibly loses all the air right there. You don't see that? Yeah, and that causes him just to eat it. But if you're going off the lip here with like bent knees and you're not pushing into the lip, and I mean into the lip, not down into the lip, that rear suspension is going to buck you at will. So his form is more or less the stand up to the jump, or honestly, just hanging on for dear life. Passenger, definitely not pilot, gets you yapped. On to the next one. All right, let's check out this lady's crash. It's pretty brutal. Oh, straight into the wall. Let's listen to it one more time. Oh, it's kind of evident what happened here. She really doesn't accept the lip, right? So as she goes up this even slightest transition, instead of bringing your upper body back, which will elongate the arms and make it easier for you to use this part of your body, which holds the most weight, you want to use that as a counterweight to keep this front wheel going up, you know, as your rear wheel then follows it off. But instead, her upper body gets closer. Now, with bent arms like this and this mass over the front third of your bike, nothing else but that front wheel diving as soon as it rebounds is going to happen. So there's no chance this is ever going to work. It wasn't like, well, she just needed to pull harder. No. Even though she does get her hips back, the fact that the majority of this woman's weight is over the front third, there's just no way she's going to be able to keep this front wheel going up at this angle. And it has to. Yep, except the lip. That's the gist of this one. But I also found that if you watch this, look as she comes in right here and then right about here. She's done these little pre-bounces as she comes in. And that throws off her timing if she had the skill to do this jump. Let's watch. Do you see him right before she gets to that lip? Right there and right there. So if you're doing those, I mean, how often is it you get these perfect run-ins to a jump? Just on your machined flow trails. There are plenty of jumps on the black trails, tech trails that have rocky run-ups. You're not going to have the ability to bounce up and down on your bike. Now, especially that bouncing up and down on your bike is engaging your suspension. You want your suspension to be super settled as you go up these jumps. Watch any pro. You're not going to see him doing all these like pre-bounces, right? It's just not going to happen. Throws off your timing. Engages your suspension when it shouldn't. Except the lip. That won't happen to you. On to the next one. All right, this one's pretty awful. Just the sound of her fork smacking that lip one more time. Okay, let's see if we can break this down. It's kind of hard to see, but I'm pretty sure we can manage here. So let's get her in frame. In frame. All right, there she is. Kind of stuck behind that leaf there. Okay, notice. Let's look at this. Notice where she is right as she takes off. Okay, knees bent in the front of the bike. I mean, her hips are just about touching those bars. Her front wheel has literally just left this jump, and all of her weight is off of the bike. Notice how her toes are pointed as well. That means she's not pushing down on anything or actually pushing. She wants to be pushing into the lip. This is actually pushing down on the lip, which isn't going to be engaging your suspension correctly. You're not going to be able to push down and pull back. You have to push in, and that allows you to kind of counterweight back. They work together. So anyway, now as she leaves, that front wheel, if you check it out, is already starting to dive. Now, because she unweighted and basically jumped up the lip, stand up to the jump, this rear wheel gets hung up right there. Now you're going to get this hard nosedive, okay? And that's because you have rear wheel being hung up and that rear suspension just rebounding super hard. You can see her try to get into the back to counteract that, but there's no way. This was destined for failure. Oh, the bike definitely came and got her. Right here, you should be pushing in to the lip with your feet, okay? You can't do that standing up on top of the bike yet. You have to get behind the front third of the bike. So put your butt somewhere over that rear axle. Yeah, don't stand up to the lip. It's gonna get you smacked. Whack. All right, guys, the last one this week. Oh. Yeah, Oot was right. I mean, okay, we'll find out if he nutted himself here in a little bit, but let's find out what happened. And it's pretty evident. So, guys, coming up, relaxed, like it. What does he do? If you're saying two-wheeled lift, you'd be correct. He unweights this bike all at once. Okay, bike's unweighted. Okay, now notice that he's falling. His body's falling before he actually leaves the lip. Can everyone see that? Hopefully you can, because you can't nod at me. Now, so let's just see where he lands and add an actual bike length to it. Keep going forward, my guy. Right. Okay, 50-50 case. So he's less than a bike length short. Okay? You took away a whole bike length of your airtime when you unweighted all at once here. So either he needed to add more speed or probably use the push, or, which I would have liked to see, probably the J-hop right off there. And not a big one, just a little one, so you're able to create an arc to match the angle of this landing. But if you look at him up here, he just goes down and up, right? Watch. Up. Right? And even that, like, bro, you are falling into your bike as you're falling. Look at him there. Notice how he's falling into his bike? That's because he jumped and gravity got him before his bike actually started to fall. So he's falling into his bike before it left the lip. No good. No good. No good. I would definitely have picked a small J-hop here. If you use the push, you would have probably had to come in a little faster because this definitely has somewhat of a gap and a steep landing. So having something that actually creates a small arc off of the lip, off these flat drops or step down jumps is awesome. And the J-hop is perfect because you can decide how much pop you're going to put into it. You could create the slightest arc and maybe add that extra 2 feet of distance that you needed with proper form. But instead, we use the stand up to the jump, 2-wheeled lift method, and this is where it gets you. You might be able to do this on your home little jumps, but as you want to progress to cooler, bigger things, this stuff's not going to cut it. Yowzers. All right, boys, 69 that. All right, guys, that's going to do it. I hope you enjoyed these crashes. I hope you learned something so you know what not to do so you don't end up one of those guys. If you have a clip that you'd like to send us, make sure that you email it over to us. The link is in the description. If we don't see you till next time, make sure you try to keep that rubber side down. If you'd like to support the channel, we've got a few ways. You can become a Patreon. The link is in the description. 37 cents a day can make a huge difference in this small content creator's life. You can also leave a tip through my PayPal account, friends and family now. As well, you can buy some merch. We've got merch. Check it out. Buy some for Christmas. If I don't see you till next time, guys, take it easy.